Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. The Broncos play just good enough football to not get destroyed by superior opponents, Perna. Who would have thought that the Broncos would shoot themselves in the foot more with Aqib Talib off the roster? Kansas City Chiefs sweep the Broncos for like the fourth straight season or some bullshit, getting a somewhat competitive game in a 30-23 win. So why did the Broncos lose? Garett Bolles, Case Keenum, and Bradley Roby are three players that come to mind. And also too many penalties from too many players at too many inopportune times. If Chad Kelly were on the sideline this weekend, he would have scared the Chiefs into a loss. Because he would have stumbled onto the Chiefs sideline thinking it was the Broncos, mumbling crazy shit, scaring and confusing all of their players, and it would have been awesome. That's good sports.
Fuck you, Tom Brady.
We're here in Kansas City representing Denver. That's good, Broncos.
And that's good, Brandon motherfucking Perna. Let's go.
Wait, I know. You want the video to start. Sorry, but I saw something. I have an award to give. It's the Father of the Year award. I saw this after I started editing. And yes, Dad of the Year right here. I'll give it to the Broncos. As tired as I am of watching this team lose games, they played a competitive 3 quarters of football again. The only difference this time around is they lost their shit in the 3rd quarter instead of the 4th quarter like the first meeting. Kansas City scored 14 points in the 3rd to the Broncos 0. That was the straw that the farmer put in the scarecrow so he could have sex with that scarecrow on a camel's back. At least that's what my great-grandfather, the scarecrow fucker, used to say when he'd have too much vodka. Now, before I recap the game, I just want to point out some of the plays and things that cost the Broncos this game. Case Keenum. I'll start with Case Keenum. He just isn't a good quarterback. He's an average QB who makes terrific plays sometimes and worse plays more times. Like me with grammar. How do you throw a pick on a flea-flicker? That's all I need to know. Bradley Roby, too many penalties in a game where he could just not at all cover Sammy Watkins. Unnecessary pass interference, poor coverage, and a hands-to-the-face penalty that probably won't get discussed because Justin Simmons bailed them out on the next play with an interception. Emmanuel Sanders gets flagged for pushing off the defender here to negate his 22-yard gain. Is this a weak-ass, ticky-tacky call by the refs? Yes. Jesus Christ, yes. But the problem is Sanders didn't need to touch him. No reason to touch him there. You already shook him. It's stupid shit like this every week that is driving fans insane. Denver had 10 penalties for 83 yards, and that doesn't even tell the full story because even though 3 of those penalties were like 10-yard holding penalties, they negated 20-plus yard gains. That's 60-plus yards of offense erased by penalties, and I only believe one of those plays was actually set up by the penalty. That will drain your momentum as a football team like Snapchat and Tinder do to your phone battery. Or if you're me, that app that tells you how drunk you are after the Broncos lose.
And yes, the refs dicked the Broncos too. The refs dicked the Broncos too. This block in the back was the worst bullshit I've ever seen. But you can't blame it all on the refs. You just can't. 3rd and long? Anybody got faith on a 3rd and long that Case Keenum's not going to get sacked after a 7-step drop and Garett Bolles just pushes the defender right into him? Anybody got faith that's not going to happen? Garett Bolles, the only tackle in the league who gets a holding call while also giving up a sack and a strip. You're not even holding right, Bolles. You're not even holding right.
And play calling. Here, on 3rd and 2, the Broncos go for one of these end-arounds or jet sweeps that West Side Story made so famous, whatever the fuck it's called, and Matt Lacoste totally misses his block. Pretty important block on this play, resulting in a 6-yard loss. God forbid you just run the football with Phillip Lindsay averaging 5.3 yards per carry in this game, or Devontae Booker averaging 8.7 in that situation. 189 rushing yards today for the Broncos. They get close to the 30 rushing carry mark, and this is what you do on 3rd and short. Run a trick play towards Garett Bolles and Matt Lacoste. I don't know what the fuck is going on. That's what I say about every 10 minutes during the game. But the worst offender may be the marriage between Garett Bolles and Case Keenum. Bolles' protection problems and Keenum's inability to understand when Garett Bolles is not blocking his man. They are in Chiefs territory here. And by the way, this happens every week. And Bolles gives up a sack for an 11-yard loss. And then on the following play, Keenum is sacked again. I don't know what bothers me more, Keenum not feeling the pressure, or Bolles not performing anywhere close to a first-round draft pick, or the fact that the Broncos thought he was a first-round draft pick. If I didn't see this play every game, I wouldn't be so livid right now. Now, for the optimism. The Broncos entered halftime just down 16-14, and a big reason for that was Case Keenum. The Broncos started this game with the biggest play the Chiefs have given up all season, with this deep ball to Emmanuel Sanders. Keenum rolled out right and hit him with ease. Then Demaryius Thomas picked up 9 yards on the naked boot. The announcer said the Broncos wanted to run more naked boots. No shit.
Boots and naked.
But I say, how can you be naked if you're wearing boots? Phillip Lindsay rushed in for the 1-yard touchdown run, and that looked like pretty damn good offense to start the game. The Chiefs scored 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. It was Travis Kelce scoring easily because Bradley Roby thought he should give him a cushion just big enough to run a route directly into the end zone untouched. The amount of plays that Roby missed in this game is alarming. I don't even want to point them all out, because I just feel bad for him right now. The Chiefs went on to score another touchdown because in this situation, the Broncos have a defense called that has Todd Davis matched up with Sammy Watkins. Watkins torched the Broncos for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. At this point, though, there was 56 seconds left in the first half. And that's where Case Keenum filled us with false hope, like every U.S. election since Abraham Lincoln. Keenum connects with rookie COurtland Sutton down the left sideline. A 42-yard gain for Sutton.
And that is Courtland. I high point the ball higher than any mother lover on earth. Sutton high pointing the ball 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet above the defender. Dang.
And then undrafted man, the undrafted hero Tim Patrick blows past some terrible Chiefs coverage for a wide open touchdown. He was so open I thought Bradley Roby was covering him. An optimistic feeling heading into halftime. So optimistic that I let you convince me to live stream during the whole game. Not just the first half like I do every week. Halftime. Today's halftime report is brought to you by my wife Jessica and her song for the Broncos.
Dear Broncos, say something, we're giving up on you. And I'm sorry the Vans couldn't get to you.
Now, I did discover the Broncos' halftime adjustments. I have them right here. They were, let everything go to shit for 15 minutes, and then we'll be like super rested and ready to win the game in the fourth quarter. The Broncos opened the second half by deciding Sammy Watkins posed no threat to the team, and that the best defense was just letting him score. Sammy Watkins was a real nightmare for us, said no defensive coordinator ever. Then we had a 20-yard Phillip Lindsay run called back, a sack on Case Keenum given up by Billy Turner, and a shanked Colby Wadman punt when the Broncos were buried in their own territory. Those are all results of the Broncos not making correct personnel decisions. And I think Billy Turner's actually done a hell of a job, but he's filling in for an injured Jared Valdir. Colby Wadman's in for Marquette King, who was in for Riley Dixon, who was in for Britton Colquitt. See what I'm saying? We're paying the price now for the bad decisions of the past. If you're a Chiefs fan, this is the highlight you'll be jacking your little weenuses to for the rest of the year. I thought Kareem Hunt's hurdle against the Bengals last week was impressive, but what he did to Will Parks on 4th and 1 while carrying Justin Simmons into the end zone should be illegal. I also don't know why defenders just don't throw up their fists when they are getting hurdled. You think Kareem Hunt will hurdle you ever again if you nut punch him? I guarantee you he's not sticking the landing if you give him a Chuck Norris hand job. That's why every defensive player should be forced to watch kung fu films. Now Keenum answered, eventually, maneuvering through pressure, completing this miracle ball to Courtland Sutton that led to a Jeff Hireman touchdown on 4th down for the Broncos. That's an impressive series with tough plays converted by the Broncos offense to keep themselves in the game. They were down 30-20, and I spent the entire 4th quarter saying, this is the drive Denver needs to take advantage of. This is the drive Denver needs to take advantage of. Every drive, and they all ended in disappointment like every episode of Dexter after the 3rd season. The Denver pass rush was effective in the 1st quarter and again in the 4th. Justin Simmons makes a diving interception on a rare shitty Patrick Mahomes throw because of the Broncos' pressure. But the Broncos' offense, when the team needed them to win the game, came up with nothing. The defense held true. Bill Musgrave calls a flea flicker. Lindsay almost overthrows Keenum on the pitchback. And then Keenum, when you need him to make a good throw, does the opposite and tosses an interception in the 4th quarter, keeping his record-breaking streak of throwing an interception in every game alive. Good and healthy that streak is. 2018, the year Broncos fans honor the fact that Case Keenum threw a pick every single week. However, the defense does it again. Clutch time. Von Miller gets a sack, Demaryius Thomas gets a sack, and they get the ball back for the offense. Those are big plays. That's why watching Broncos football is so frustrating. There are flashes of extreme talent. There are big plays, but just never all strung together consistently. Watching a Broncos game is like taking a bong rip and then trying to follow the plot line of a mashup of a Kubrick and David Lynch film. 2001, a Mulholland Drive. What the fuck am I watching? Time was running out and the Broncos offense could only manage a field goal. And right now, in the NFL with the new kickoff rules, you have a better chance at seeing Logan Paul giving a commencement speech at Harvard than seeing a football team recover an onside kick. Chiefs win because the Broncos needed an onside kick to win 30-23. What the Broncos have done to their secondary this year is like a botched plastic surgery job. They went into the procedure, aka the offseason, with Talib, Roby, and Harris looking like Jennifer Aniston. You know, someone who's been in the game for a while but still beautiful and performing at a high level. And after trading away Talib, acquiring Tremaine Brock, moving Roby to Talib's role, and desperately adding Pac-Man Jones before the season started, come out looking like Ross's doppelganger, robbing convenience stores. At least Ross's doppelganger can steal something. This secondary, outside of Chris Harris Jr., can't steal any passes, or balls, whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is too many guys made mistakes for the Broncos to get a win. Brandon McManus misses a 55-yarder after a 6-yard loss pushes the offense back. Every offensive lineman gave up a sack or had a penalty. Bradley Chubb and Derek Wolfe both jumped off sides. Colby Wadman shanked a punt. I think the only guys who were perfect were Chris Harris and Devontae Booker. Devontae Booker played a hell of a game. I could go on. Each of these things individually aren't a big deal, but collectively, they make you a bad football team who can't win games. That's the NFL though. The difference between a bad team and a great team is small, and the Broncos toe that line every weekend. A great quarterback would make up for a lot of those problems, as would a great head coach. I just don't see how they easily find those guys right now, unless they re-sign Chad Kelly. That is the fix-all solution.
Boots and naked.
Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Stay strong, Broncos fans. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna, Instagram as well, and I do a podcast every week. That's Good Podcasts. You can find it on iTunes or my second channel, That's Good Podcasts, with the one and only Will Keys.